बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम अली अल्लाह मदद फरमा मुश्किल कुशा मेहरबान मौला तौफीक ताईद हिम्मत व यारी मौला. So today is our fifth session. We started our journey on Jamaat Khana Shinasi, meaning the recognition of Jamaat Khana, and that includes understanding whatever we do in Jamaat Khana. We have talked about the building of Jamaat Khana. When we go to Jamaat Khana, how do we prepare ourselves? And then there was a question about money. Why do we have to have money to go to Jamaat Khana? And when we talk of money, we do spend money when we do dua karavi, we pay Dasond. We can also enroll in majalis by utilizing money, by giving money, and also there is donation. So why does our tariqa expect us to spend money? Religion should be free of money. And normally nowadays, youngsters do have these questions a lot, that why do we have to have money? First, the most important thing for dua karabi, we do not need to give any money. That is why it is always said, man murad. If you desire, if your heart desires, then only you can give money. I myself has done many times, I would go without money to dua karavi. And I will get dua because I'm seeking forgiveness, and it is not an exchange of money that I give and I get forgiveness because I paid money. There's nothing to do with the money. It is my heart, my acceptance of me being sinner, seeking forgiveness of my sins to Imam, telling him that I am head to toe, tobo tobo taksidar, bando sirta pa gunegar, Yasha tu bakshan bakshanhar. He is the Shah, he is the king, he does not need our money. So it is man murad. If we give it, it's our sacrifice, it is our desire, because money is too beloved to our heart, so we give it to our beloved. If we don't give, it should not make any difference. We do not need to put any money. It is all the walls there, mehmani, ruhani, dua karavi, all that is man murad. Now second is Dasond. If we were to go back into history, take any religion, every religion has Dasond in it with different names, but Dasond has been must. They have found, I was reading an article, they have found old clay tablets, from a civilization probably before Babylon times, and there were, ancient Egypt writings that, they were paying Dasond at that time. 1/10 part of it they were paying as religious tax. It is religious tax, it is religious dues which are incumbent upon any Momin who is following that religion. Take the example of Zoroastrian. They also pay money for the religious dues to their priests. Even Buddhist is the most simplest religion, but they also pay their dues. Judaism, Christianity, Sikhism, any religion you take, they do pay dues. These are religious dues. We call it religious tax. Every religion has it. Now, in Islam, the sources of revenue they are called Ushur, Jazya, Zakat, and Khums. Now, Ushur in that time, actually it means the 10th part. Ushur means the 10th part. A tax was imposed on Muslims as they had land, whatever revenue they get from the land on agriculture, they were expected to pay Ushur. Jazya is the term used as pool tax, which was again imposed only on Muslims. Remember, Islam was ruling at the time of Prophet Muhammad on Muslims and non-Muslims. So this tax, because they could give vote, they would be expected to pay jizya. Third is zakat. Zakat is the tax for poor people. Again, it is only imposed on Muslims, and the percentage for that is 2.5%. Khums, it means fifth part on those spoils of wars which warriors would receive. They always had to give the fifth part as khums. When they receive in the battle, whatever male ganimat, spoils of wars, they had to pay khums. So these are four terms which you would hear when we talk to our Muslim brothers, Sunni Muslim brothers. Now, for us, we call it Dasond. Christians call it tithe. Tithe. This word is differently pronounced. When we pay Dasond, it is actually his amanat. When we do our bayah, when parents take a child to Imam for, in representation of Imam, Mukhi or Mukhyani Ma accepts the mehmani of tan man dhan, meaning that child is submitting on behalf of parents, tan man dhan. So the life we have is of Imam, whatever is in our heart, it's Imam's, and whatever money we have, whatever resources we have, it is Imam's. Therefore, it is must upon us to give his amanat back. Dasond is actually his amanat. It is his trusts which he has put upon us to return to him. When the bayat is done of a child, the mukhi or mukhyani would accept the mehmani of parents, bayat of a child, and would return that child to parents to take care of. Now that child is child of Imam. Whatever is to do with that child, it is of Imam's child. That is how that child becomes Imam's beloved spiritual children. Now, when that child grows up, 18, 19, 20, when they start earning, it is must upon them to pay the dasond. Parents who are very teaching oriented, from the childhood, they teach children to pay the dasond. When they give pocket money, let's say if you give example, $1, $quarter should go for the dasond in Jamaat Khana. That is how we teach the concept of the dasond to our children. It has to be taught at the young age. Otherwise, when children grow up, when they don't know and suddenly they have to give money to Imam, it is very hard to separate from something which we want a lot. Once the love of money sets in the heart, it is very hard to separate from it. Therefore, it is important to teach our youngsters to pay the dasond as if it is must. They have to do it whenever you have money, whenever you have gift. Parents who want to teach a lot, like strict parents. I can give example of my mother. Even when you have your birthday celebration, you get gifts, you have cake, you have to give a portion to Imam. So that's habits of parents teaching children from young age that this is must part of our tariqah. We have to give it to Imam. Then it becomes an easier practice for children when they grow up and they start working hard and they feel, oh, it is my hard-earned money. Why do I give it to Imam? No, it is must. You must see your parents giving it to them. Parents needs to tell the children that first we pay the dasond and then we eat. It has to be shown as an example to children that the dasond is must part of our tariqah. So it is amanat of Imam. It is the trust Imam has put upon us. And let us look at this Farman Mubarak. Why don't one of you can read this Farman, please? Let's read the Salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Both khums and zakat were paid in the period of the Prophet. The people of that time understood that These taxes must be paid for governing the religious rule, and it could not be governed without it.
So Imam is telling us that this is the religious dues. This is the religious dues which is important, and Imam is actually referring to history. In the time of Prophet, people were expected, they knew, they understood it. Similarly, we are following the progeny of Prophet, that is Imam, and we pay our religious due. In this Quranic verse 8/27, and you know what? I wrote down the transliteration because we've been trying to pick up the Quran and understand it. This is the verse in Quran chapter 8 verse 27. We all know this verse. This is Ya ayyuhallazina amanu la takhunu ilah wa rasulu wa takhunu amanatikum wa antum ta'lamun. We say this Quranic verse in our fifth part. So we know this verse. We start learning or reading transliteration from verses which we already know. So it becomes easier for us to read. And what does Allah says in this? O you who believed. So this is only for mu'minins. It is not for everybody. It is only for mu'minins. Do not betray Allah and the messenger, or betray your trusts while you know. We know that it is due on us. Imam has told us that these are religious dues, and that is how the religion is governed. It cannot be governed without it. And therefore, when we are told to do not betray the trust, we cannot, we should not. And we say this part 3 times a day, this verse 3 times a day in our dua. So what is that due? What is that trust? And we are talking about in context of the song. The trust can mean very many things, but remember, according to our topic, we're going to only talk and focus on the song. So when we pay the song, the first part is for Allah, Prophet, his Ahl Bayt, meaning our Imams. The second part of the song is actually for orphan, for needy, for musafir, those who don't have money. And we do understand that when we pay the song, the 10th part of our the song goes to Imam. But 2.5% is actually zakat. The 2.5% is for poor and needy, and that is why we see how Imam all over the world has so many projects running on to help the humanity as well as the Jamaat. In today's time, if we were to find somebody who is in need of money, it is hard to verify. It is hard to verify if they are truly needy or one is being deceived. I would commonly give you example of here, it's holidays time, and you would find people on the road and they'll say homeless. But when you start talking to them and they need money, you'll find out that they are drug addicts. So, things like that. When we give the money to Imam, zakat, as well as the sond, we give it to Imam. Imam makes the decision where does he need to invest that money? What are the cause which he chooses? And then Imam is the one who makes that decision. So that is how we do need to understand that Ismaili pay 10% of their income as khums or as the son to the Imam of the time. Now, the word khums actually continued to be used in Egypt. During the time of Almoth and post-Almoth period, Ismailis in Iran, Afghanistan, Central Asia called it Male Wajbat, or some people also call Dhayak. The Indian Ismaili peers adopted the term Dasond in place of Ushur and Khums for the religious dues. The word Dasond is said to have derived from Dason. Das means 10 and un means, grain, food, corn. So by frequent usage over a period of time, the word, became Daswand or Dasond, and now we only hear word Dasond, the D, which was never there at the end, the D part. But we understand the meaning. It is to do with the 10th part. Now, in Turkish, Ismailis who are in Turkey, they call it ondabir or ushur. The 10th part of income is separated along with 2.5 parts of zakat, making the deduction of 12.5 from our income. The 10th part solely belongs to Imam, while the 2.5 part being the zakat, is for the welfare purposes. Or we can ask questions at the end. Why don't you keep writing the questions in the chat and we'll tackle with it at the end. So we as Ismaili, both the parts, the 10th part and the 2.5 part, presented to Imam. Qazi Noman, who used to be our jurist, who wrote the book on jurisprudence, right? He says the khums and the zakat which God has entrusted upon you has to be paid. God has enjoined on you to pay does not belong to you. He says it does not belong to us. The amount which is of Dasond, it does not belong to us. It is not part of your property. It is the amanat of God and the Prophet in your hands. God has warned you in his holy book against the misappropriation of amanat. So it is the amanat of God, of our Prophet, and after Prophet is Ahle Bayt, which is Imam of the time. So it is his amanat, and we can never do khayanat, misappropriation of this amanat. There is some misconception that, people think that, and I have been asked, which is strange, right? They say that in our property, in our earning, the money decreases. We cannot make our ends meet. Remember, we have to always know this, tell ourselves that this is not part of our property. This does not decrease in any ways the amount we are earning. It is his haq which we have to pay. It has to be separated from our income as soon as we get the money. Otherwise, that money, I'm sure we all know about it, the money which is of Dasond, if kept with our own money, it can burn that money. There are so many stories and kissas of Imam, which we can, I'm sure we all have heard it. Do not want to go into detail, but do want to very firmly emphasize that Dasond is very important part of our practice. There is no way out of our Dasond. Dasond is must. It is amanat. Otherwise, we are thieves. Just think opposite of it. If we do not pay Dasond for any reason, we are thieves. And thieves are not Momins. This is for Mominines. Another verse in Quran, chapter 9, Surah Tawbah, verse 103 says, take from their wealth a charity by which you purify them and cause them increase. And invoke upon them, indeed, your invocations are reassurance for them. And Allah is hearing and knowing. Allah clearly says to Prophet Muhammad that inke maal se sadqa le lijiye. Take from their wealth. To do what? To purify us, to give us increase. So we do know, we have heard from our parents that when we pay Dasond, Mola blesses our money. There is always increase. And it is true. This increase can be at very many levels, but just take the example of money. Those who want barakat, blessings, and there are so many stories we have heard that those who pay Dasond, their money never ends. Miraculously, they always have these blessings of Imam that they are never having difficulty with their money. So Dasond is the most important part of our practice and very difficult part of our practice, because money in today's time has become very important to people. But those who are Momins, those who seek closeness to Imam, those who seek Pakizgi, purification, for them, they do know that it is very small amount that we offer, and in return we get multiplied times of blessings. Purity of our heart and mind, forgiveness of our sins, and to get increase, to get this blessings and barakat in our earning. Let's look at another verse. Now this verse, chapter 3, verse 180, says, and let not those who withhold what Allah has given them. Look at the translator, what he's saying. Greedily, I'm not reading because this is what he's saying. He's putting his own words. But in Arabic translation is, and let not those who withhold what Allah has given them of his bounty ever think that it is better for them. Rather, it is worse for them. their necks will be encircled by what they withheld on the day of resurrection. And to Allah belongs the heritage of the heavens and the earth, and Allah with what you do is acquainted. He knows chit ki chori. So those who become lalchi, those for whatever reason withhold what is trusted upon them to give, it is worse for them. It is not good. It is only those who have lack of knowledge, lack of understanding of what is the Dasond, they will withhold that money for whatever reasons. The Dasond is to be given no matter what. Otherwise, it will, encircle our necks in the day of Qiyamah, and will be asked, what did you do? Why did you not give my haqq? So remember that this is for us to gain salvation. In the day of Qiyamah, when we are those who are moments, who are Farman Bardar, Imam will take us with him. Remember, it is all for us to be getting salvation. Imam ke saath tar jana hai. Yeah? Tare tu taran hara khuda. Imam is the one who is going to take us to salvation. So it is for our salvation that we do need to give his haqq. So that is the another reason for salvation. Then this is another verse, two verses. Chapter 9, verse 75 says, and among them are those who made a covenant with Allah. If he should give us from his bounty, we will surely spend in charity, and we will surely be among the righteous. And the second verse, chapter 2, verse 43, almost same as above, and establish prayer and give zakat, and bow with those who bow. Now here the words are different. If you were to look at in Arabic, the words are different. Here it is charity, here it is zakat, but the focus is the money which we give it to Imam, or Dasond, which is khums, as well as zakat, what we give to our Imam. Either it is for sadqa khairat, or either it is for Imam's haqq. When we give this money to Imam, we come into the category of becoming Farman Bardar moments. Otherwise, we may be smiley, but we are not moments, we are not Farman Bardar. We are expected. The promise which was made by parents on the behalf of the child, that they will teach this child importance of the Dasond, importance of all the religious education, to be taught to them, and by themselves role modeling to children that it is important practice of our tariqah. Then only we get the benefit of being in smileys, Farman Bardar moments of Imam. Otherwise, again, we may bow, physically doing sajda, physically doing raku, which is half prostration, does not mean anything if we are not giving the dues which we are supposed to give. Only physically going to Jamaat Khana and physically going into sajda and not paying the Dasond or cheating in the Dasond does not make us Farman Bardar moments. So we are deceiving Imam, thinking we don't know what we are doing. He knows chit ki chori. So the Dasond is very important practice of our tariqah. Now in Ginan, Pir says, Asha ji thor Dasond ne molaj dharam, halte munivar jano ji. हाल दाई के गत माहे गुजारो ते पहुंचे गुरनर ने हाल. O Lord, the tithe is the trunk and the roots are the religion and the fruits are the moments. Talking about us, why do we pay money in Jamaat Khana? This is it, that we are connected to that tree, that trunk, which is Imam, and we are the fruits of that tree. If we do want to be fruit of that tree, offer prayers in the prayers house so that they will reach the hands of Gurner. Hurry, you are eternal. He is eternal, who can take us to salvation, to everlasting life with him. For that, the criteria which is put upon us is the Dasond. That is why we have to give money in Jamaat Khana. That is one of the reason, right? Why are we giving money to Jamaat Khana? All this knowledge has to be given to our Jamaati members. Why do we pay the son? Because our peers have told us to do so. And we are farman bardar. Another verse, this is Salokomoto. In this, peer says, Sadhguru kahere, ઈમાન રાખશો તો છૂટશો અને ગુર કહે છે પુકાર સાચી દસોંદ જ આલજો અને દૂરથી લાગજો પાએ. The true guide says, if you maintain faith, then you will be free, and the guide cries out to you, submit the genuine tithe and bow to the feet of the imam from distance. Now there is another concept here, distance. But let's focus on the tithe. That our peer is saying that if we want to maintain our iman, do you know that iman increases and decreases too? There are darjat in iman too. Those who pay dason, their iman continues to increase. The yaqeen in imam that he is the one who can take us to salvation increases. So those who want to strengthen their iman on imam, they got to pay the dason. That is why we have to have money in our tariqah, because we do want all these barakat for ourselves. Another verse, Sadgur kahere, Sawa lakh tiya pamsho, ane jiwa didha hase daan, જ્યાં નહીં મળે અણપાણી એક તિલ, ત્યાં લેશો દસોન દાન ન ફલને. Subhanallah. Here says you will get 125,000 times, multiplied times, in accordance with the manner in which you submitted it. How truthfully, honestly, with purification of heart, we submitted it, ek ka savala, where you will not get even a single grain of simsim seeds worth of food and water. Now, this is allegory peer has used, meaning that in the day of judgment, when we have no food or water, what will benefit us? Only the fruits of the dason which we have given, that we will benefit. And this is beautiful farman of Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah. Bombay, 8th September 1885, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Those who give 1 penny in this world, just 1 penny, they will be rewarded 125,004 pennies in hereafter. And those who offer me with true faith will be prosperous in the world and will get high ranks in hereafter. Again, this farman is so full of wisdom that we can take a whole class on it. But again, focusing that ek ka sawalak imam gives. Our peers have told us, our imam has told us, ek ka sawal. Now, this is in reference to truly money, because people even at that time had struggled. This time, 600 years ago. This is probably 100 years ago. More than that, right? Jamaat had problems because Jamaat was poor. Financially, we are not that poor now, but is there a struggle to depart with our money? Yes. That is why we get this question, why do we need to pay money? Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah tells us that if you want higher ranks in hereafter, if you want to be prosperous in this world and have the true Hakiki Iman, Kacha Iman nahi, Hakiki Iman, we have to pay the son. Why? Because it is the benefit of the son multiplied times which helps us in increasing our Iman, in increasing the prosperity in this world as well as in hereafter. Now, this is another beautiful farman of Imam Mustansir Billah. I wonder if you know, Peer Pindiyate Jawamardi is actually our peer, but it is a book which was written by our Imam Mustansir Billah. And there is a event why it led Imam to do that. That we can discuss elsewhere. But today, let's just read this Farman Mubarak of Imam Mustansir Billah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Mawla says, oh believers, realize this and do not miss the point, which is a very serious and important one. Even with great difficulty, it cannot be settled by force. It depends on the inner feeling of satisfaction. Misappropriation of the religious dues ultimately destroys one. Ultimately destroys one. The tithe implies many high points and numberless tests. If one does not give it, he courts numberless misfortunes and calamities. It is an extremely serious matter. Do not take it lightly. It is a heavy burden, both the one who gives and who receives. It must deliver it honestly and in full to the abode of the Lord. So we get the understanding that it is a heavy burden. We are talking about us, that why do we have to pay money? It is a heavy burden, but it is an expectations. Why? We do see Imam's clear words that those who do not give, they will add upon themselves numberless misfortunes and calamities. खुद पे तकलीफें डालेंगे. Do not take it lightly. Imam has said that Imam actually, when we give him dasond, he's tied with that dasond to us. If we don't pay dasond, we are not his responsibility. And he receives it, meaning that he has to consistently guide us, forgive our sins, help us to walk on the Siratul Mustaqim, to guide us to the salvation. So it is a heavy burden. Do not take it lightly. Imam is with us due to the son, because the sacrifice starts physically. A human has three parts in their being: physical, spiritual, intellectual. When we sacrifice physically, let's say we are going to Jamaat Khana morning and evening and we think we are Bhagat and we do not pay the son, no, it's not doing anything. Whatever we earn from our physical life, that is first is money. We work, we earn money. We got to give the son. And then only we eat the bite. Otherwise it is haram kane wala. Now this is another beautiful गिनान. एजी नर ने दसोंदज तमे ले आलशो तो तमारा वत्से रिधि सिथि पुत्र ने परिवार. ईमान सलामत तेनु राक्षे आपनो नर अली छे सिरजनहार. If you give the son to the Lord, then there will be plenitude in your wealth, kith and kin. Our Lord Ali is the creator who will secure their iman. You know, we do say this dua, Ya Mawla tan man dhan al aulad mein barakat de. He will give that barakat if we were to give them the Imam his haq, his amanat, are the son. Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah says, Nairobi, 6th October 1905, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Those who pay the son regularly, their iman will be secured. And when they will perform ibadat, they will gain benefit from it. Now here I'd like to pause and let's just reflect. How many times we hear this question, oh, I cannot focus in ibadat. My dhyan is not in ibadat. Constantly I am distracted. What do I do? How do I pay attention in my ibadat? This is the answer. This is the answer. If we have any weakness, you know, in Gujarati we say kachas, any kachas. If we have any deficiency anywhere in our payment of the song, we will not be able to focus in ibadat. If we are truly wanting to climb up the ladder in our ibadat, in our journey of recognizing the Imam, the song is must. We do not eat a bite without paying a dasond. Now, the question here we have to ask, we just learned that we have our being at three levels. We have physical body, we have our ruh, and we have our akal. Does this dasond only applies to our physical body? What is the other parts of dasond which we have not understood yet? something to reflect and think about. So why money in our tariqah? I hope we do not need to talk about it. Dasond is must. Dua karavi, we do not need to pay money. Donation, we can give if we wish. It is not must. Dasond is must. It is the haq of the Imam. Before I go to benefits of Dasond, I do want to emphasize that our being at physical level, the earning we have, it is not only in the form of money. We do have time. We do have knowledge. Imam at Golden Jubilee time gave us this direction to give time and knowledge Nazrana. Are we thinking it is different from the song? Imam is asking for his haq. He has given us this life. He is the Malik of our life. Whatever we gain from this life, we have to give his part. So the benefits of the Dasond is that this life which he has given to us, the bharosa he has kept on us, we keep that bharosa of Imam by becoming Farman Bardar Momin. When we do that, he purifies our soul and intellect. Physically, we can take bath and clean up. But the purification we are talking about is of our soul and intellect. Iman is not visible to anybody. Dhyan in ibadat is not visible to anybody. It is referring to our soul and intellect. So again, we want to progress in ibadat. We have to truly find out and ask ourselves, are we giving him our 100% of the soul? If we are not, then we need to work on that, because we all seek salvation. We all seek fanayat. When we hear this dua after we pass away, that Mola Asal Mein Wasal, nobody is going to take us to Asal Mein Wasal if during our lifetimes we have not paid the dues to our Imam. This dua only applies to those who are his Farman Bardar Momin. So it is very important to ask ourselves, are we paying 100% of the song? Now let's look at this Farman. This is Bombay 3rd, 1912, March 1912. Maulana Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah gives this Farman. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. You must be more careful in the matter of the Dasond, because there will come a time when the discontinuation of the Dasond will be ordered. Nobody will let you know when the Dasond is stopped. Even there is not a fixed time for it. As a thief comes at night and steals the house, but you come to know the robbery in the morning. Similarly, when you wake up in bed, you will know at once that the Dasond has been stopped. As long as the sky exists, so exists the earth. But the matter of Dasond is such that it will not last forever. What will befall on those persons who had not given Dasond in the past? Imam is asking us. Another Farman. Again, Bombay, 10th March 1912. Since a prior notice is given, but in the matter of the Dasond, nothing will be known in advance, but about its discontinuation. Such a thief steals the house and the owner knows it in the morning, and likewise, Dasond will be known all of a sudden. Then it is like a bridge when it breaks down, the people of one side and on another side, and so will happen. Now these are very strict farman, but very, very critical, important, crucial farman of Imam. That a time will come when the Dasond will be stopped and no one will know it. So let's say we all are imams, momineen, and our parents taught us and we are giving the dasond regularly, but what we are doing, we are giving only money dasond. If we are doing that, then we do come into the category of not paying complete dasond, because our life is not only physical. Now, why do I say that? Let me give you a logic, okay? Let's say if we see someone in Jamaat who is mentally, not there, disabled, retarded, whatever words you want to say, special people, they may not be able to go and earn any money. They cannot have the dasond on them because they're not even earning. They're dependent themselves on parents or caretakers to take care of them. When we see ourselves, we have intellect, which we use to go to work and earn money. We have our soul, which is listening and helping us, keeping us alive. How are we paying the dasond of our soul and our intellect? And in Golden Jubilee time, when Imam actually gave us this Ayah Nur and Hadith Saklan, it is truly mercy of Imam that Imam gave us Ayah Nur to recite and Hadith Saklan. And about these two Hidayat, we have talked in great detail in different sessions in relationship to importance of knowledge. Those of you who have not heard it, you can ask Naveen Sahiba, she will give it to you. But let's talk about time and knowledge in Nazrana. Why Imam in Golden Jubilee also asked us to give time and knowledge Nazrana? In the eyes of Imam, we have grown so much that we are now to be giving our time as well as knowledge. Are we doing that? If we are not doing that, we are not paying our dasond, because that is the haq of the Imam. Now one may ask, how do we pay this dasond? Today, believe it or not, all of us, we are paying that dasond. When we are giving our time, getting the food for our intellect, nourishing our soul by learning knowledge, by committing to learn knowledge, is actually our time and knowledge Nazrana. This is only for the soul. Now, there are people, let's say those who have business knowledge, those who are accountant or computer technological knowledge, and they give their time to Jamaat to teach them. Very important khidmat. But it is khidmat. It is Nazrana. And Nazrana is applied to all the levels. Where is the khidmat for your own soul? Where is the khidmat for your own intellect? Charity begins from home. If we have not fed our souls, if we have not nourished our intellect by seeking the true knowledge, we can never teach our children or Jamaat or anybody. When Imam gives us life, we have this clock with us, lifetime, clock is ticking. When will that clock stop? We don't know. During that lifetime, if we have paid our dasond, then how are we, Mafi, when I saw the comment, I got stopped, my line of thought. When we have our lifetime, the time, and if we have not given the time to Imam, now one may ask here, one may say, oh, I go to Jamaat Khana regularly, I sit in Bandagi. That is must on us 2 times dua, and ibadat is also for the progress of our soul, and for that ibadat to elevate us, to have dhyan in ibadat, we do need to pay dasond. Dasond is also applied to our time. This time which we have, it is not only to be used for improving our worldly life by making money or spending time with fun or family all the time. No, dasond is must on our time too. And a seeker of a true knowledge, when spends the time in learning the true knowledge, picking up the books, reading Quran, listening to lectures, writing notes, highlighting Quran, all these practices are for the Dasond of our time. And then knowledge Nazrana, which is for intellect. When we are learning, it is Nazrana to our own soul, but it is Amanat. Amanat has to be given. So we have to continue to seek knowledge with the hope and prayer, Ya Mawla, that let me learn and make me capable that I can give something to Jamaat. Always we have to pay it forward when we are ready, when the time is there, when we get the izn, when we get the permission of Imam to do that. We can definitely do something which is better than nothing. So remember that the Dasond is actually on our physical, on our spiritual and intellectual level applied equally. We can do calculation of our time and go into detail, but remember, if we are so malnourished, our souls who've been seeking for such a long time, we have never been fed with true knowledge in such a way that we really could have this habit of reflection, doing the khayal for 2 hours. If we have not done that, a time will come when we'll realize that the bridge is broken. Those who had learned this knowledge and they had understood how to pay the song, they will be on the other side. And then there'll be some on the other side, but there is no means, there is no way to cross that bridge. And we will not know when that bridge will be broken. It is very important for us to wake up and awaken our friends and families, bring them to true knowledge classes, so we truly understand what is our tariqah, what is the Imam expecting from us. So I hope that this has helped you. And if you have any questions, surely you can come forward. Ji Ravi Sahaba.
There are a couple questions in the chat. One of the question is, how do we calculate 12.5%? Is it from the total gross income or not?
It is before taxes, gross income, whatever you earn. The Dasond is applied on gross income, because even when we pay taxes, you know, like I know about USA, when you pay taxes, whatever percentage, it is for our physical life, worldly comfort, whatever it is, right? You get money back. And sometimes people don't even think, oh, I got money, return tax, they get happy and spend. No, the Dasond is gross income. You first give Imam ka haq and then take first niwala. There are so many kissas and kahanis, we don't have time, otherwise I would tell you the stories. Amazing, amazing how Imam, especially Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, I remember one of the story that Imam actually goes to Ranipur when the Queen of Ranipur invites Imam, and Imam goes there and he takes the side road, and then the car cannot go further. So Imam actually walks in the mud. His knee, the mud is such that till his knee, it's all mud. And Imam goes to a hut, and this couple, they look at Imam and they're like, oh, Khuda bin Khud, they're trying to touch Imam's feet. There's no feet, it's all mud. So Imam holds them that, no, don't bend because it's all kichur underneath, don't, you know. And Imam says, how are you? In the hut, there's only one stool and one stove. So Imam sits on that one stool, very poor family member, very poor. And Imam says that, how are you? And they're like, Khuda bin Shukr, everything. And Imam says, where is my haq? Where is my Dasond? And this couple used to keep their pennies Dasond in the chat of the hut, hiding in some matka somewhere. And this man looks up and Imam says, no, wait. Imam keeps the stool, he climbs up and he gets to it and gets the money out. When he gets the coins, some coins falls on the mud. And he starts trying to pick to help Imam. He says, don't touch it. Imam says, don't touch it. If you touch it, and mistake happens, you'll be ruined. Let me take my own haq, let me pick it up. Imam picks those coins up from the teacher and keeps it in his pocket. Just calculate the cost of Imam going to Ranipur. And the story is that Ranipur queen was inviting Imam for a very long time. And he would always say, no, 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 no. This time Imam says, I will come. He does not go to her castle. He goes to this hut, goes to this Momin's house, collects his money and keeps it in pocket. How many? Few anna, like few pennies. To travel, to take so much time to reach there to get that money, that annas from Imam, for Imam, what value does it have? But it is not the money which is counted. It is what is in the heart of that moment. The sacrifice moment does with happiness, with love for Imam. And through those few pennies, Imam purifies, takes us to salvation, and he's there to guide us. His light is connected to us. So imagine how powerful this practice is if we truly understand it with our heart, with our soul, with our intellect, and do the calculation and give it to him as, Ya Mawla, this is nothing in return what you are giving. This is nothing. And there are so many stories. Remember, Imam has said, Ek ka sawa lakh. Another story I must tell you, Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah is with Mata Salamat or somebody, and then, Jamaat gives Dasond coin in thala, right? And Mata Salamat gets, oh, itna sara paisa hai? So Mola says, do not think like that. These khojas are very smart. For every penny they want me to give them sawa lakh. It was just, Imam says it, but there's a wisdom in it. We are seeking the life of hereafter. We are telling Imam, give me the majiza of Al-Hayy, which is that you are ever living and give me ever living life. We want asal mein wasal during our lifetime. No, I don't want to wait. I want to be with you now. For that, it can only happen when we are truly staunch Mu'minins. Ji.
SubhanAllah. There's another question. If there has been a situation where due to lack of understanding, you have not paid the appropriate dasond, how do you correct it, especially if you're not in a situation to pay it right now?
Now, this is difficult situation, difficult question. I can only refer to what Imam has done in the past. There was time in history that Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah was told by Mukhi Sahib of some poor Jamaat in India that Mola, they are so poor, they cannot pay the dasond. Mola says, do they eat or not? Ji Khuda, when they eat, tell them to give me the 1/4 of the chapati they eat. How can we eat if we have dasond remaining on us? We cannot eat. When we do that, it becomes haram kaniwala. So if we are staunch mu'minin, right? If we have strong love of Imam and we believe in Imam, do anything and everything, pay that dasond. Because that will burn that amount which is due on us. Whatever we have, it will go. That is our belief. Now, having said that, these are very strict, very harsh kind of points I'm saying to you. Only you know your situation. If you have not done, if you have not given, then find ways and means to do what you need to do and do it fast. We don't know that clock is ticking. We do not know today in an hour we die. Then who's going to do it afterwards? Nobody's going to pay any money for us. Whatever good deed we need to do, right deed we need to do, we need to do it because it is for my soul. So whoever it is, they feel that way, pay it right now. Or make a plan, inform family members, do whatever you need to do, that this is dasond, this has to be paid. I mean, that is, I'm saying it because I don't know your situation, but I would never recommend that. But remember, it is difficult to answer questions like that because it's very individual. We don't know what your situation is. Ji.
SubhanAllah, SubhanAllah. Friends, if you have any other questions, you can come forward.
No, Niamat Sahib, I just want to ask, I don't know if this will help. अभी जो तुम दसों पर जिसको तुमने जवाब दिया, my mom always used to tell me, thank God this has never occurred in my life, but the thing is, if she always told me that कभी दसों अगर नहीं भर सको completely, means के एक तो अपना money, we take out the money, दूसरा ये है कि take out the like माल from your home, like अपने pantry में होता है ना कि भाई ये चिक पीस का टिन है, वो टिन है, तुम्हारे घर में लाते, उसका हिसाब करके ने उतना सा माल, मौला knows your नियत कि pay it as the son. I don't know now this will help or not, I don't know. So because you people are the scholars and all that, नहीं सच्ची बोलती हूँ मैं because after coming to this platform, mom ने धर्म इतना जैसे सिखाया था उस जमाने में that अभी तो हम लोग देखते तो comparatively we are zero. So I don't know if this will help or not. I don't know.
Yeah, that person can answer that. I cannot speak for that person.
Yeah, and दूसरा ये कि mom ने ये भी बताया था कि even when you are going to, I mean, somebody's, when you are invited in somebody's house and they serve you and all that, but घर आके come home and then you just, say कि हाँ, I had it for $10 इतना, उसकी $10 की फिर 10 निकाल लो. Because that is what goes in your stomach is an added income and it's not yours. So purify yourself.
Yeah, that's a good practice. When we understand and we do that, Mola blesses. Ek ka sawal nuksan nahi hai. But the point I would like to emphasize here, see, the questions are about money, practices related to money. But this session was not only about money. What about our time? So, one of the friend recently shared, and I'm going to share with you to help us understand. This friend says that her children are asking her, grown-up children, that mom, you are now very busy in learning this knowledge. All the time you are attending classes and reading and picking up Quran as if you have nothing else to do. You have no hobbies anymore. You don't read any books. She's reading online. And she's asking me, how do I tell my children? You know what? If the Dasond was due for how many years? 40 years, 50 years? I am paying it all together because I've learned it today and I need to pay the Dasond of my lifetime. So that is why I'm doing this. And it is my due, I got to pay. That is the importance of learning through knowledge, giving our time and learning and nourishing our soul and intellect. The mazbuti of the iman we seek, the dhyan in the ibadat we seek, the ishq of imam that we seek, it is all actually in true knowledge. The more we learn, the more we understand these concepts, it will become the soda of muhabbat. So the song of our time, if we were to do this by learning through knowledge, what we'll understand that whatever we've been seeking, right? That ishq of imam, that dhyan in ibadat, whatever we've been seeking and we've not been getting in all these years, we think we've been following the tariqah. The way we were taught, the way we learned, we've been doing it, but still the results which we seek, the happiness, the peace that we seek, we've not gotten it. Why? Because we have not understood that our lives are at 3 levels. And every teaching, every promise we make to Imam actually applies at all 3 levels. We have followed, unfortunately, but Imam has said it, so I'm going to say it. Imam has said that we've been following the Jismani Deen. When we follow the Jismani Deen, see how we are concerned about money, Dasond? We should be. I'm not undermining that. Please do not take me wrong. We are concerned about money, Dasond. We always kind of talk about, oh, I'm very regular in Jamaat Khana. Oh, I never miss Jamaat Khana. I pay Dasond. Yes, you do. But this is all physical Deen. Imam says that If you will not teach your children the Hakiki deen, the Batni deen, the physical deen will set in their heart. Tell me, what is our status today? If we are truly followers of the Hakikat, we do need to look for essence. Essence cannot be learned, Tawil cannot be understood if we don't start the journey physically. Everything starts physically. Physical practices are must. Physical Dasond is must. Physical ibadat is must. Now the second level, which is at the ruh, at the intellect level, the higher part of our being, which is invisible, then that comes into play. When we talk of the Dasond of our time, we invest in learning true knowledge to feed our soul and our intellect. So when we feed our soul, when we are sitting in ibadat, this soul which is nourished with this Tawili knowledge is immediately able to connect to the name of the Imam. For that moment, Giryazari becomes easy. Love of Imam becomes easy. Why? Because there is Hakikati following of our tariqah. Not just Jismani tariqah, Hakikati following of tariqah. We say we are Hakikati, we say we are in Batni tariqah, but what is the Batin? Imam says we have not tasted the mugs of the deen. We just eat chilka and we are happy. That is our status. So these true knowledge classes, when we meet and we understand, go into detail of everything, is to help us understand and have this habit of khayal, reflective study, right? That where am I standing? So do not just look at physical, please. Look at the spiritual and intellectual part of it, and then take your hisab kitab, and then see where you are lacking. If you're lacking in physical, definitely we need to fix that first, because that is the first step. Without that step, no one can climb to the second step. It's not possible. First, everything has to be done physical. Why physical? Because physical is the door to Batin. Physical is the door to Batin. When we meet all the conditions and criteria physically, then the door opens. Otherwise, we may stand on the door, knock on the door, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, but it will never open. So I see here a question which is privately posted, very important question. Thank you for asking. The question is that, what about, we have heard there is a haqq of peer. So 10% is of Imam and 2.5% is the haqq of the peer. Very, very important question. And yes, it is correct. So in the time when our peers went to subcontinent and Jamaat was so poor, at that time the talimat of our peers were that 10% is of Imam and 2.5% is for peer. And that's how Jamaat was taught. But remember, in today's time, Piratan has been merged with Imam. Imam only accepts the 10%. And the way today we live as a global village, and especially Jamaat not knowing the talimat of the Quran, having difficulty to answer these questions that, do you pay zakat? Yes, we do pay zakat. And we pay zakat much more than them. Let me tell you, if you do the calculation, actually our payment is higher. So if someone ever asks or challenge, we do pay zakat. That 2.5% is the zakat, which is the amount for those who are poor, needy. And 10% is the Imam. Why this change? Because Imam has merged Piratan with him. So that is the answer to that question. Thank you. Ji.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. There are no more questions in the chat. So if friends have any other questions, please come forward.
And one thing, if ijazat Ustad Buzurg ki, that's one we are talking. Yeah. And 10% Imam takes, but I was when I left Afghanistan as a refugee, and if I can calculate all my Dasond, even it cannot be my flight ticket. So how? Hello, you hear me?
Yeah, go.
Okay, because the screen is went off. Yeah, so my Dasond even cannot be my flight ticket. So how much the Jamaat and Imam help, you know, millions of refugees. So this 10% Imam don't take this. It go to lots of institution. It helps. It come back. Maula built a school for us, university, hospital, and lots of great services. This Niamat count. You know, if we give our Dasond $2 billion, it still is not enough for one person. So how much Maula? I was a dad, so he make me a
Subhanallah, Subhanallah. Khairuddin,
dad
aapki awaaz kar rahi hai. I
bring
do
to
would
life.
like.
So
So what he's saying, Khairuddin, I'm going to repeat. He's saying that he's from Afghanistan. He's a refugee, and what Dasond he paid is not even equals to the flight uh, ticket for him to leave Afghanistan, which Imam paid from his pocket for the millions of people to bring them out of Afghanistan. Millions of Jamaati members, Ismaili members, right? And non-Ismaili. Imam did it for both actually. So he's saying that if I were to calculate today the amount of money I paid as Dasond, I've been blessed, multiplied millions times. And that's what we learned. Ek ka sawal. So we have a living example. He's saying that he truly kept me alive, brought me back to life. Otherwise, I was dead in Afghanistan. And then he's relating it to people who say that Jesus brought people to life, and the way they are saying that they do not understand it. That in today's time, the living Imam is that Jesus who shows practically in this physical world that how is he keeping alive. Physical level. He's talking about physical. People may be Christian, but light has left that religion because the living Lord is in our tariqah. Yesterday it was living tariqah because Jesus was there, and he did the majiza of bringing people to life, but that majiza does not exist there anymore because it is in Ismaili tariqah, because the living Lord of the time is in Ismaili tariqah. And we have clear evidence that how he physically kept people alive. Yes, in Africa too, in Idi Amin time, in Uganda, how Imam brought all those Ismailis to Canada or London, right? So it's Imam's mercy. So do we not see that how he is keeping his promise of being our Imam, physically, spiritually, intellectually? He does not need to do this. You know, Imam is for our soul, but Imam takes care of us physically, spiritually, and intellectually if we truly see it. Thank you, Khairuddin. Wonderful contribution.
We can take one last question here. How can we inspire our youngsters to also enjoy giving Dasond?
This starts at a young age. That's, you know, and if we have not done it, then there are different means and ways. For example, you know, I would say that Western culture, children do understand to treat parents, to take parents out to eat or give them gifts or, you know, birthday and this and that. Imam is our Imam, he's our guide, and he gives us selflessly. And we can give example of all the worldly things. Remember, it has to be physical. How Imam has started universities and hospitals and this, and we need to probably teach these children how Imam is doing in the physical world. But he only calls us my beloved spiritual children. It is his love which is upon us, and for his love, we thank him. And what we do is to give him Dasond, and then slowly, gradually bring them to that this is his amanat. Because today we die, we have nothing left. It is he who gives us life. How? The connection we have to build, that he is the Noor-e Mujassam and Allah is Noor-e Mujarrad, the abstract Noor and the embodied Noor. So he is the embodied Noor. He loves us and we want him to love us, and in return we want to love him too, and we offer Nazrana, just like time and knowledge. So depending on the age and ability to grasp, we kind of, you know, bring them at first level of doing things physically and then help them understand at a higher level. It has to start with love. If there's no love, then worldly work of Imam, whatever ways and means we can use start making them pay the son. Because when they pay the son, automatically that money will start purifying their heart, their iman. Majiza will happen.
Niamat, I had a question for you. If somebody has gone through several surgeries and they have a hard time going to Jamaat Khana or being in Jamaat Khana, but they find comfort being on the lobby part of Jamaat Khana, when they can, they will give the Dasond. But majority of the time, they give it to somebody they trust in an envelope to give it to Mukhi Sahib. Does that count? Will that Dasond be counted?
Of course,
Okay.
of course. Like there's nothing wrong. Yeah, of course. Thank you, thank you. Shukr alhamdulillah. It's all your dua. Thank you for joining, friends. Yali Madad, Yali Madad.
Yalimadeh.
Do that. Yali Madat, and thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Yali Madad, Yali Madad.